we got the sunroof cassette out. We're going to be taking the skin off of the sunroof and making our own delete plate. We assume this is going to take about 30 pounds off the highest part on the car, which will lower our center of gravity.
With the sunroof skin and the Hard Motorsport windows installed, we should see about a 45-pound difference.
We came up with a plan to attach this sunroof delete plate that we have fabricated from the OEM parts. We're still losing probably about 20 some odd pounds with the parts we're not going to be using. We're going to go to Home Depot and pick up an L bracket made out of aluminum, and it's going to run from about 3 inches off the side on each one, run through the middle of it, and we'll attach it in a couple spots. It's not the most traditional way to do a sunroof delete, but so far we are free at this point, and we're thinking with the aluminum we're only going to be in this project about $20.
So we've got this kind of outlined a little bit where we want the bracket to sit on these pre-existing plastic pieces that are already on the sunroof. We've already drilled holes right here, so we know exactly where they need to line up on here. It sits just like that. So we're going to rivet this to that plastic piece, and we're going to do the same thing on that side, and we're going to run one right in the middle. Now we got the gasket done, we can show you the final install of the rails. We didn't want to go over it completely because we hadn't finalized a plan yet. What we ended up doing is doing a single rivet on the inside of this rail, using this plastic piece right here that is factory. Put a bunch of rivets on there to make sure it's secure. And on the back side here, added a washer or a couple washers to kind of space it a little bit so that the top of the skin would sit flush. And we did that exact same thing on both sides. Now the center rail is a little bit different. What we ended up having to actually do here, because the skin itself bows out, so we took a long piece here, riveted it to the front and the back with just a single rivet, no spacer. And then in the center, took an excess piece that we cut off of these longer ones and kind of filled that almost 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch gap just by riveting 3 rivets through here and then 2 to the top of the skin. So we're just waiting for our gasket for the sunroof delete to dry. In the meantime, we're going to be putting in these Hard Motorsport rear window deletes.
From what we can see, all you have to do is take off the uprights on the seatbelt mounts. The screws are underneath it, there's 2 of them. We did an install like this on my E36. We're not going to cover this in depth too much, but we will show you how to pull the E36 apart because it is a little bit different. So to take the windows out was a very similar process to my E46. There's 2 bolts here. They're actually nuts. The studs sit on the window, and then there were 2 in the back. Those are 8mm and a 10mm. Once those are out, you're going to want to remove the gasket because you will no longer need that. We're going to be using the Hard Motorsports clips that they gave us that slide down into these metal trim pieces. The only other thing that we're going to be using different than what Hard Motorsport sent us was the original nuts that sit on the back of these. They actually have the washer built in. It's really difficult to get the nut and the washer back in here because it's kind of recessed in there. So we're just going to be reusing the BMW ones and then just putting the ones that Hard Motorsports gave us back on the OEM windows in case we ever resell them. So we just got done weighing the OEM windows and then compared them to the Hard Motorsport windows. It looks like it's 11.2 pounds between the two. We didn't weigh the gaskets. We're sure that that's worth about a pound or so. So it looks like we'll be losing about 12 pounds. That's almost identical to the weight loss that we got in the E36 when we did this same upgrade. So now we're gonna get these mounted up finally. And then at the very end of the video, we're going to weigh everything all together and get a final weight loss from these two projects. That puts the car at just at 500 pounds for our weight reduction, and then these two projects here. It was very nice to have a project that we were familiar with. The E46 is almost identical to this window install. A lot of our parts take us extra time to do because it's the first time we're doing a project, and we just spend so much time figuring it out. And by the time we've got it down to what we're comfortable with, that's the only time that project's ever gonna need to be done, such as a sunroof on this. We'll never do another one like that again. That's why it took us so long to figure it out. But it was nice to have this project in here. Big thanks to Hard Motorsport for all of their help with getting us parts, and their quality is fantastic and we'll continue to go back over and over again.